So last night I watched a bunch of amazing stuff about Alex Hunnold, who is an amazing rock climber. Well, depending on how you look at rock climbing, he's the best in the world. He's the only person to ever to have free soloed up El Capitan, meaning he climbed it with no ropes. Just bare hands, rubber climbing shoes, and a bag of chalk to keep drying his hands. And he did it in just under 4 hours. If you slip and fall, you die. And yet, I'm listening to a TED talk of his about fear and about visualization and preparation, and it's amazing to listen to this man. He's been climbing all his life. And when you think about what that sort of activity is, it is concentration, breath, and movement. It's like yoga. I mean, it's a meditation. It has to be. And that's basically what he said. Like, he talked about how he isn't afraid. If he was afraid, his mind would start freaking out and he'd probably slip and fall and die if he was doing a free solo. I mean, he's probably more likely to get afraid now when he's climbing with ropes because there's a part of him that knows he doesn't have to be as focused, right? Because he's only going to fall however many feet it is to the last place he's hooked onto. So there's more room. That's why sometimes it takes a life crisis, an emotional crisis, a terminal diagnosis, or whatever, for so many of us to get serious about accessing the deeper parts of ourselves and really connecting to inner peace, into power, and to focus, and to information, to solutions, to answers. We look all our lives for answers outside of ourselves. And then, unfortunately, for many of us, it takes a massive external crisis. It did for me, to really get focused. And I see now, I mean, after watching what I did last night, which was a couple different things, a TED Talk, a documentary, and then a thing about his diet even, all about the same man, all on YouTube, made it really dovetailed into what I've been reading in this book. And that's a daily devotional book, so it's November, so we're getting to the end, and it's about yoga, but about all of yoga. Like, yoga isn't just asana, the postures, like what you think of a yoga class. In this section, he's talking about focus, concentration, dharana, the Sanskrit word, Dharana. And how important it is. And I think for me, I've been meditating in much more of a relaxed way, just sort of letting whatever flows, letting whatever comes up and observing it, and sort of just, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that doing it that way, I think, can take a lot longer to get to beyond your mind and really connect to what's there when we're utterly present. And that's the same thing, because the mind takes you out of the present, usually. The mind takes you into the past or a little bit into the future, worrying about stuff or remembering stuff or, running conversations you had or you're going to have in your mind or things you got to do, right? It takes you out of the actual present moment of sitting there in a chair or laying down or whatever you're doing. If your eyes are closed, like you and your breath in the dark, that's the present moment. And that's all there is in the present moment if you're doing a seated meditation. Or if I'm walking on the beach and it's the ocean and the sky and the sand and me and my breath and my body. That's all there really is in the present moment, right? But that takes concentration. That takes focus to stay there. If I just sort of walk the beach without any determination to focus, what's going to happen? I'm going to be in that sort of present state for the first few minutes because it's so awesome. Or if I'm taking a great walk in nature, right? Then, after a few minutes, the mind is going to be like, oh no, I have problems we can solve. With this stuff, it's going to want to pull me out of the present moment. And, Rolf is an amazing guy. And clearly he has a practice that he's tapped into the ancient wisdom of the present moment and of meditation and yoga helping him, and the breath helping him to stay present. And it doesn't matter what we're doing, to be present. In the case of Alex Hunnold, obviously he's extremely present when he's climbing. When he's free soloing, if he isn't present, he's going to die. But as Rolf writes in this book, what we tap into in the present moment is extraordinary. When we're in the present moment, underneath our minds, we're connected to the present moment and everything that's there. And everything is there. Like unlimited knowledge, information, wisdom, love, passion, purpose, grace, forgiveness. And it's just been a great reminder for me. Both what I've been reading in the book, it's really changed the way I've been meditating. And it's changing how I feel when I'm not meditating. How I feel about life, about my body, about what I'm going to do next. And I just, it doesn't have to be seated meditation. Again, Alex Hunnold, look at the TED Talks. There's a movie they made called Free Solo about his ascent up El Capitan. I actually watched the whole thing on the filmmakers and all the questions they went through. It's a complicated issue, even trying to film something like this on many levels, ethical, moral, But listening to Alex talk, to me, it's almost like listening to like Thich Nhat Hanh, or the guy spends all day, whenever he's climbing, he's in that state, especially when he's free climbing. He's in a state of just breath, movement, and presence. So there's like no ego. Like he lives in his van. He's a professional climber. He gets endorsements and stuff. So he pays his bills by climbing, and he gives a third of his money away. But because of his lifestyle and how passionate he is about climbing, it makes sense for him to live in a van. Of course, I felt connected to him because I've lived in my van, and I realized the beauty of like that kind of a simple life. It's hard. It can be hard, but there's something about it that really connects you to the present moment. But the way he talks, and you can see how much of his ego is just gone from climbing all the time. And you can see that his motivations for doing the things he's done are not what you would think. It absolutely wasn't to be famous because he did that. He eschews most of that. He doesn't want that. That's why probably most of you don't even know who Alex Hunnold is. It was like he did another ascent a few months before that had never been done. He free soloed something else in El Capitan in Yosemite, a little bit short, 2,000 feet instead of 3,000 feet, and he did it. But he didn't. He realized it wasn't a victory inside because he wasn't where he knew he needed to be inside, if that makes any sense. Like, he knows that inner state of calm, and he kind of freaked out a little during that climb, and so he didn't consider it like an accomplishment. Like, he says he's chill when he's up there 2,000 feet with no ropes. He's like, it's a super conscious state, clearly. And so he was determined to free solo El Cap that way. And he did. And he was very happy with the whole journey and how he felt during the whole time. He did a lot of mental rehearsal. I mean, he climbed that thing so many times with ropes. He planned the whole thing, all the holds, every single, he knew exactly where he was going to put his hands and feet. He practiced things. He visualized things. He would close his eyes and visualize himself doing the whole thing. He practiced different leg swings he was going to have to do. I mean, he definitely prepared. And then when he did it, he just went out and did it. And to see some of like the angles and to see what he was doing, it's superhuman, really. It's amazing. So to wrap this up, what is possible when we practice a state of focused intention with our breath and maybe some movement, maybe stillness, maybe some movement, but we're present, with our breath. The place that we are carried to and what it offers us is unlimited. And if you want some inspiration and proof of that, Google Alex Hunnold. I think it's Honnould, something like that. Just free solo El Capitan. It'll be there. It's amazing. It is amazing. All right. Have a fantastic day.